Welcome, everybody. Thank you for making it out to our workshop tonight. Some of you know each other, you're on the same panels, but some of you don't, so I thought we would just go around and say our names and maybe how long you've been on a panel. And actually, I'd like you to say one word that comes to mind when you think of change. So I'll start. As you know, I'm the program coordinator for the rep panels. I've been here for 6 years. And the word that comes to my mind when I think of change is growth.
I'm Susan, and I've been working on a change for about 2 years. And actually, I have 2 words, difficult and scary.
Thanks.
I'm Phil. I've been on the panel most of my life. And I agree with Susan about change.
Thank you.
I'm Tress, and I've been on a panel for about 2 years, and I don't know why, but the word freedom came up, so I guess I'm thinking it's a pretty positive thing to do.
Okay. I'm Rachel, and I've been on the panel for about a year, and I'm thinking the word would be expansive.
Rapid.
As far as change.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. So we're learning about stages of change. When people make changes, they go through stages. It's a process. The agenda is here for tonight. We have 75 minutes, and we'll be reviewing the stages of change model, talking about things that are helpful in making changes, looking at characteristics to know what stage someone is in, and we'll be doing an exercise. And I'll get you all out of here by 6:30, 6:45. And the goal for tonight's session is to... Okay, so in preparation for tonight's class, I asked you all to think about a change that you're wanting to make, that you're interested in making. And I'm going to have you might notice up on the wall, there are 3 signs: not ready, unsure, and very ready. And sort of everything in between, important, making these changes. It's either not very important to very important. So just with your stage in mind. So, Tress, it looks like you might be the most ready. Can you say why you're, say, at a 10 as opposed to an 8 or a 9?
Well, I'm kind of already in the change, so, but it feels like I'm not fully, finished changing, so that's why I'm kind of right at the edge of, working on it. I'm in the working stage.
Great, that makes so much sense. Rachel, can you tell us why you're more in the middle of the continuum rather than, let's say, at a 9 or 10?
I just feel kind of like I'm in a holding pattern, like a time of being patient and waiting for something.
That was how important it is. Now, I'd like you to think about the same change you want to make and how confident you are that you can do it. There's going to be a lot of change happening coming up. I can tell, right? It's important, and you guys are confident. Jessie, can you tell me a little bit about why you're confident the change is going to happen?
I'm confident because I think I'm in the right mindset to change, and I think you really have to think a lot about...
Sue, I don't know if you're super confident and there's just no room over there. Maybe you're a little less. Are you a little less, or...?
No, I just, there was not, those chairs in the way, but I'm actually feeling like it's taking me a long time to get to this place, but I'm so confident to help him get on into the world, which means help me stop helping him.
So it sounds like you're going to get a lot of benefits from it.
Yeah, and he is too.
Yeah, okay,
So.
Great. Thanks, everyone. You can now sit back in your seats. Okay, well, what it is, it's a model. It describes how people change their behaviors. It started in... you're going to get a handout on this, so you don't have to remember it. But there are the 5 stages right there. And, you know, they're pretty intuitive, starting with the pre-contemplation. Just sort of what you imagine, right? So that's where you don't even know there's a problem. It's not even on your radar. It's just it's not what you're thinking about. Next is contemplation. So that's where it is now on your radar. You've sort of, you know, things are coming up, you're noticing it once in a while, and you're considering, yeah, maybe you're, you know, going to make a change at some point. Next is preparation. That's where you have decided. You might seesaw and go back and forth, but in your mind, at some point, you know you're going to act. You know, you might, like I said, seesaw going back and forth. But the feeling pretty much is, yeah, I'm kind of ready to go now. Action, that's where you're actually doing it. You're taking steps every day. You're living it. You haven't quite gotten there all the way in that you don't feel completely secure. And then there's maintenance, which is living it. Anything they say after 6 months is maintenance. It's when you're doing it. It's not always necessarily easy, but you've committed to it. You have your strategies in place. You know what works, and relapse isn't a bad thing. It's sometimes really expected that it'll happen, and the important thing is to just know that you've done it before and that you jump back in. Questions on any of the stages or thoughts about that?
So, I'm thinking like, probably everybody goes through these stages, but everybody does, it's a different time frame for everybody,
So on some level, we are always making a change. Okay, so you've all had a few minutes to think about it's in a stage and something you might do or say that would be helpful. So let's start with, who got the pre-contemplation? Rachel, what do you have for how someone might present in that stage?
I wrote they might feel disappointment in themselves, shame, sadness.
What you might say or do that would be helpful?
Be a good listener. Don't enable poor choices or behavior.
Right. Yeah. Even if they're not ready to change, you need to, be clear. Sometimes it's really incremental what brings about a change. And, you might say something one time and then not talk about it again for a while. But I think the more a person hears it coming from several sources or, more and more often, it does. It starts to move them. They might not be happy. You might not feel very supportive, but it's something you need to do for yourself as a person. Yeah, great. Thank you. Let's see. Moving on to contemplation. Who has that? Oh, you have that. What do you have?
Might be a good road to take.
I especially appreciate being a good listener, because lots of times if you're just quiet and someone is starting to talk and you don't keep asking questions or fill in the space, the person will keep talking. Let's see, preparation.
They just support this person. Great job.
Yeah, right? Sometimes that's all you need to hear. Really is. Good. And then there's action.
I have action. So feelings, this feels good, excitement, energized, happy, thought, questions.
Right, and just sort of like you said, I'm here for you. Is there anything you can do? Sometimes just knowing somebody's there is the biggest help. Yeah, great. That was action. Maintenance.
So some feelings on the positive side, feelings of feeling really proud of themselves, and on the negative side, feeling flat or bored, antsy, uneasy. Time for kind of moving into not time for another change or like another level.
You can relapse even when you're in maintenance, when it's been working, depending on depending on what's going on in your life. If everything feels sort of flat, you might one night decide to whoop it up and go off the wagon. Right? I mean,
Right.
does that sound sort of
Well, the
familiar?
flat-
I mean, it might not be addiction, but
Well, the flat part is where you're in a plateau and you're not gaining or losing, so you're right there in the maintenance stage.
right. And sometimes things, I mean, changes all the time, right? I mean, things usually just don't carry on forever in the same vein. So, all right, last one would be relapse.
Alright, so I'm gonna relapse, and it says what feelings, thoughts, or anxiety may the client experience at this particular stage.
Last one that you said, the goal. Sometimes you fall off the wagon and you know you're looking at this piece that you failed at, and you're not able to step back sometimes and see really like what you're heading for. And if you can keep that big picture in mind, that's what helps. This is hard, but if you can keep sort of looking at the big piece.
Yeah, like